Welcome to Gator Spotlight.
Yes, Gator Spotlight. But wait, I thought the name wasn't going to be Gator Spotlight anymore. What's happening with that?
Oh, yes. Stay tuned for an update.
Yes, we have exciting news. We are going to be rebranding our podcast as well as our business name, and we're going to let you know what that is in today's podcast. So we have a super cool guest today joining us, originally from Hawaii, which is why I'm sporting Hawaiian duds today. And but he lives in Jacksonville, Florida now, and he is actually a branding expert. And so we're excited to have Jamey Marcus. Jamey,
Hey, what's going on, guys?
hey guy, how you doing there?
Hey, great to see
Good.
you.
Yes, you guys too. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, we're excited to have you on our podcast here. And yeah, you said you had a story about your branding business, your marketing business. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, just getting started is always the best story. You know, people want to know kind of grassroots how we got all started and whatnot. Pretty crazy. Our first client is still our favorite client, our best client. She's working out exactly the things that we helped her structure for her business as far as media is concerned, and personal branding is really what we specialize in. So the benefit to her is basically she showed up, gave us some of her goals. We tried to extract that with a series of questions and whatnot. And one of her main goals was to raise private money for her flipping business. She also wanted to be known as a mother of 4 children and a business owner as an entrepreneur. So as we set a strategy in place for her, we accomplished one goal after the next. And now her DMs are just flooded with private money. A lot of the stories of how they choose to connect with her is because of the stories we've told on her behalf, and just coordinate those things in the strategy that she had set out for her. So that's been a huge success, just one of the huge successes of our business.
Yeah, and you said that was your first client, but it's also your best client, and I can see why, because you're specifically custom designing that whole marketing plan for that person and their special brand. So it's a very specialized type of business, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say, I mean, I don't know if best client is the way to do it. I would say best based on results, right?
Okay.
And the results come from when you hire somebody like us to manage your media. It's really that relationship building and trust building, like any of your business ventures,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
As she built that trust in us to accomplish those goals, we just were able to continue putting strategy after strategy in front of her so she could just accomplish that next step, right? So we said, first you need to be consistent on media. We need to consistently be meeting, putting out content. After we get that consistency going, then we can start putting a story to it. Why are you here? What are you trying to accomplish? How do people contact you, right? And then it becomes about building a strategy into that system and being more effective on that front. So what are
Mm.
your goals for the month coming up? Well, I have so many flips coming. We just locked up and I need more private money. So we say, okay, that goes right to the forefront. Let's start communicating the needs for private money, how people can get a hold of you exactly. And that becomes the new strategy for that month.
That's
That's
great. So
really exciting.
it's an evolving thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Always evolving. And again, so she could come out the next month and say, hey, I feel like I'm losing a little bit of traction. I want to start raising money again. My lenders are all funded in all of my deals or in other deals. And so we came up with the next strategy, which is like, well, let's just reiterate who you relate to, who would want to do business with you, right?
Mhm.
And so we put out personal content. We put out, that relatability factor. Like I'm running this full-time business and I have a family, of 5. So like people were immediately able to relate with her on that story in the strategy we put ahead. And then she was again able to just raise funds, raise funds, raise funds. So
That's great. That's great. So yeah, you kind of already started talking about like the steps, right? So for somebody who you would work with, or even somebody who's trying to do this on their own, to start to develop a brand, I'm not asking you to give away the whole thing, but like, what would be the first couple steps that people should take? Is just to get
So
started.
yeah, absolutely. I think the first place that we start is by looking at how consistent they are already. So
Okay.
we actually can't even work with somebody unless they're already consistently showing up as their personal brand, right? And the reason for that is really I don't want to be taking people's money when they don't really know what needs to go into it, right? I want them to understand, like, hey, this is what goes into it. We're coming in as a benefit to save you, to give you back your time, give you back the time to do what you're good at, which is run your business, right? And so you know what's involved in it, and you want to just hand that off, right? It's kind of like when you first get into wholesaling, you're cold calling everybody. You're cold calling, you're locking up the deal, you're marketing it to dispo, you're the dispo person, right? You're the TC, you're everybody, right? And
Yeah.
as you slowly take back your wholesale business, where, okay, now I can have a VA do my calling, where I
Mm.
just close the deals. Now I can hire a closer so I can be the TC. Now I can hire a TC so I can be the dispo marketing person, right? It's the same exact thing. So I've been doing media. I film all of my own content. I'm putting it out, but I don't have the time anymore, right? To spread this thin. So you need to hire somebody like us to be your manager as well, right? So that's
Right.
kind of where we come in and bring that benefit to everybody.
Got it. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So I wanted to share something, and I'm glad you're here because you are kind of the, like the branding expert. And so we've been working on rebranding ourselves. So we're excited because we're going to share that right now, kind of in the middle of this podcast here. We got, so let me go ahead and show everybody what we got here. So we've been working on this for a while. We have been Gator Spotlight for a while now, and we're ready to change a lot of things. We're working on our website. That's not quite done yet. We've got some extra features we're going to add in on that. But we do have our new logo, and we also have our new color scheme. So let me show you the color scheme first. Here's the new color scheme, a little bit shifted from what we had before, a little more of the green and gold as opposed to the blue and green. We've got a new logo with our new name here. So I'll show you that. There we go. So from Gator to Close to Funds to Close. And
Awesome.
then drum roll, please. The new podcast name, we've changed from Gator Spotlight to Investor Spotlight. So we're excited. This is our 20th podcast, 20th episode, and we're glad to have you on here with us, Jamey, to reveal the new branding. Any feedback for us? What do you think?
No, I love it. I love it. I think it's amazing that you started with color. Part of our branding process as well is we actually create a PDF for all of our clients, new clients, where we send them a color palette based on their feed. Now, color has a lot to do with the psyche of whether or not somebody's going to commit to you, commit to your services, see if they're relatable, right? Because it's that feeling they get when they see your feed. I think you guys have probably been on my feed, Instagram, my Instagram handle at the bottom, but you'll see that structure, right? I like a lot of these darks, right? I have a lot of gold in there. And that's just my personal branding, but that tells a lot once you get to know me and see where I'm at, where my background is from and whatnot. Whereas this green and gold, fun to close, everything points towards kind of the color of money, the investor spotlight, the name being investor. I think that's amazing. So color, starting with color is super important. So I love that you guys did that. Fun to close, I think it's super straightforward, good name. Personal branding in general is you could have any name.
Right.
And depending on who's behind it and who's pushing the story is really going to be the power behind that name. I think Investor Spotlight, as far as the podcast goes, is very straightforward. Obviously, you guys are bringing up different types of investors with different specialties, and that is going to be their spotlight feature. So there's no questions asked there. So I love that. Hosted by Fun to Close, right?
Yes.
And I think that serves your guys' purpose in communicating to that investor what your role is in any transaction that you might want to work with them. So I think it's a very powerful name you guys came up with. I think the next step is just going to be telling the story behind that name. As far as visually, branding, logo, all that stuff, I love it.
Thanks,
Awesome.
Jamey. Appreciate
Thank
that.
you. Yes.
Yeah, for your feedback.
Yeah.
And so the funds to close is, we definitely are shifting our focus more to what we're laser focused on, which is transactional funding. I know you do that as well.
Yeah.
And so we're both all part of the FundWise team, which is awesome. We love our community, and that's one of the reasons why we connected with you. Appreciate you coming on today. Let me ask you, if you had one piece of advice. I know you've done different things in the whole real estate investing space. If you had one piece of advice for like a brand new real estate investor, what would that be?
I think it's just to stay focused. I think everything in my business changed when I decided to just stay ultra focused on one pipeline, one avenue of income. That does change per person, obviously, depending on their resources, their skill set, their time, their funds, right? Those are the things I always tell people to kind of just layer over each other and prioritize one at a time. It's going to be time, money, skill set, right? That is really the only three things you need to learn how to prioritize on what you have more of to start making some focused decisions, right? If focus is the elimination of everything that's not tied to your goal, then the next thing would be finding that priority of resources that you have to be able to accomplish that goal, right? So if you're somebody with more time than money, more time than skill set, you can use that time and spread it over learning the new skill sets, finding the money and finding the deals and connecting all of them, right? And that's a good use of time. Whereas if you're a person with more skill sets, not as much time or money, right, you can use the minimal time you have to let people know you have these certain skill sets and offer value in that manner, and so on and so forth. So I would say focus is the biggest role that's I attribute to whatever success that I've created over the last year and a half just doing transactional funding, and our media business. Being able to focus on the people and really frameworking it out for people, I think, has been a huge building process for me.
Yeah, I can see how your background in marketing has really helped you to streamline, reaching those new clients. For us, I think Marcel and I both come from an education background, so kind of our skill set is we can like help explain things to people and teach people and coach people on how the whole process works. So we all have our different strengths, and that's what allows us, like you said, to maximize our business. Well, that's some great pointers. I hope everybody can take what Jamey said and digest that. And if you want to get in touch with Jamey and ask him some more questions, or maybe even enlist his services to help you grow your brand, to help you with your marketing, or even learn more about what we do in transactional funding. You said the best place to get a hold of you is your Instagram. Is that correct, Jamey?
Yeah, if you go to the Instagram link that you just popped up, I have the link in my bio. It's just basically the link tree, so it has all the information you would need to get a hold of me. That's the best and fastest way.
Perfect. And I'm just going to intercede there and say I have spoken directly with Jamey. He has given me like pages of notes. So be prepared to write down everything that he shares. It just so many gold nuggets that you'll walk away with in learning how to grow your business. So definitely reach out.
Love it. Thanks so much. Appreciate those words.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks again for taking the time to jump on our podcast. Investor Spotlight now, right? Episode number 20. We're going to keep the number rolling, even though we rebranded. This is episode 20. So thanks for being here with us. And we look forward to seeing you in person in the future. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
Absolutely.
We'll see you soon. Yes.
All right. See you later. Okay, well, that's going to do it for this episode of Investor Spotlight, right, babe? So we're excited. We'll see you next time. If you would like to subscribe, go ahead and click the link right here and check out some of our other videos as well. We look forward to seeing you next time.
Have a great day.